I love reading, but I'm not a Kindle girly. I can't get into it. I really like physical copies of books. But buying new books can get expensive really fast, so one of my goals for 2023 was to keep reading but not buy new books. So these are all the physical copies of books that I read in 2023. 2 of them I purchased from thrift stores. One of them was a gift from my mom that she got for Christmas in 1977. One of them I got secondhand on eBay, and the rest of them, 23 to be exact, are from Little Free Libraries. That was kind of the goal for 2023, was to mostly get books from Little Free Libraries. And it was kind of an interesting way to do it, because normally with books, like, you have a big selection in a store to choose from, and a Little Free Library is little. And so typically there's only like maybe 20 books to choose from. And I was always worried that I wasn't gonna like whatever I chose because there weren't that many options, but almost every single time I loved the book. I had so much fun doing this that I actually started my own little library about halfway through the year, and I've just loved it. Normally when I watch content on Book Talk, it's people who have brand new books, they've spent a fortune on them, and they have the most aesthetic, beautiful bookshelves, and mine is not like that. But I didn't buy a single new book this year, and I only purchased 2 books. Honestly, I still had a wonderful time, so I'm going to show you some of my favorites and least favorites and other things. I found both of these in separate little libraries while I was on a trip in Oregon, and I loved them both, especially Pretty Things. Murder in the High Himalaya was my favorite nonfiction book this year, about a Tibetan nun who is fleeing religious persecution and has to cross the Himalayas and tragically ends up being brutally murdered. This book was so sad. I cried so many times while I was reading it, but I feel like it was a really, really important read. The Huntress was one of my favorite reads. It's a historical fiction about Nazi hunters right after World War II, and I got so attached to the characters in this. I loved it. The Little Old Lady Who Broke All the Rules was one of the funniest books I read this year. It's about a retiree and all the other residents of that retirement home who've decided that under new management, the retirement home is worse than a prison, so they try to commit crimes to go to prison. Sadly, my least favorite book I read this year was Winter Rose. I bought this book at a thrift store because the cover is stunning and I thought that it would be a wonderful book. It was really hard to get through. It's beautifully written, it was like poetry the whole way through, but it was hard to follow the story. All in all, I highly recommend giving this little challenge a try if you're interested in saving money and using community resources that are available to you. Obviously, if you have a library card, you can just go to a regular library, but as somebody who loves keeping a physical copy of books that I've enjoyed on my shelf, I really liked doing this because I can keep these books. Also, if you like audiobooks like me, but you want to save money and not use Audible, I recommend trying the app Libby. It's a free library app. All you need is a library card and you have access to thousands of audiobooks.